Joining us right now, our friend Stuart Varney. He joins us every Thursday when we're lucky, and he is, of course, from the Fox Business Channel, anchor at Varney and Company, weekdays at 9:20 a.m. Well, you heard us. We're talking about Syria a lot today, Stuart. Are you talking about it there on Fox Business Channel, and what are you hearing in the hallways in terms of how the markets, the international markets, and the Wall Street market might react to the Syria buildup?
Okay, the bottom line for investors, the bottom line on the markets for what's happening in or might happen in Syria is that you, America, individuals are going to pay a price for this. We're already paying a price, notably at the pump. The price of gasoline, regular, is starting to move quite sharply higher, and I think it's going to move much higher over the holiday weekend. That's because the price of crude oil has reached a two-year high, and that's because oil supplies in the Mideast are, of course, under some degree of threat. But, Larry, before we go on, I've got to raise one more issue, and this is just breaking.
Please.
Unidentified gunmen in Libya yesterday closed oil pipelines carrying 452,000 barrels of oil a day. Now, unidentified gunmen, what does that mean?
Yeah.
We don't know who's ordering him to do this. We don't know who they're working for. Has it got anything to do with Syria?
Wow.
Don't know. But that's why oil keeps going up.
Oh, there's that Arab Spring, Stuart.
That's a really significant thing there, because this comes at a time when already the oil markets are jittery about what might happen in Syria, and then simultaneously at the same time a major pipeline, a really major pipeline, is closed down. That's significant.
We always concentrate on the Straits of Hormuz. You know, they carry all this oil through a very narrow strait. If there was terrorist activity, could it be closed? That's why the price of oil goes up. But now you've got the actual closing of significant pipelines in Libya, and who knows if that could be replicated in Saudi Arabia or in the Kurdish area, which carries an awful lot of Iraqi oil. You know, the threat is there, therefore crude goes up, therefore pump prices go up, therefore we pay a price.
Well, okay, so the rest of the market, though, has been rather soft until yesterday, sort of a mild rally. What's going on market-wide that sort of drives the fact that stocks are dropping like a stone of late?
Well, that's, again, because the price of oil is going up and because of the uncertainty about what happens in the aftermath of any attack that America might launch on Syria. A couple of days ago, the Dow lost 170 points, came back a little bit yesterday, but the Dow has two big oil companies in it. Those oil companies went up. That pulled the Dow up 30 points. So really, you've had no bounce back yet from that big drop. It's this uncertainty. What happens after we attack? We don't know. That's uncertainty. Investors tend to sell when faced with that kind of thing.
And is the fact that some people are now looking at the next quarter as not being a particularly good one?
Yeah, in about an hour, we're going to get new numbers on the growth rate of the economy in the second quarter of this year, likely to show a growth rate of around 2%. And now, when you look towards the last half of this year, it doesn't look like it's going to be any more rosy than that, because back-to-school spending was pretty weak. The housing market looks a tad shaky these days. Middle-class income actually losing ground. And now you've got the Syria situation, a pile of negatives stacking up for the second half of the year. So, look, Brian, I'm going to say this calendar year, America will be lucky to achieve overall 2% growth, and that is abysmal.
That is very sad.
Stuart Varney, one of the reasons why you're our favorite guest is because you can talk about international affairs like Syria, you can talk about what's going on in the markets and in business, you can also talk about pop culture. And I got to say, I yearn for a time when it was more innocent, like last week before I heard Brian Wilson talking about twerking all the time. But and now even the Oxford Dictionary has added twerking to the dictionary, and Morgan Freeman has given us a definition, Stuart Varney.
The word twerking has now been added to the Oxford Dictionary. Here's the definition they gave: to dance to popular music in a sexually provocative manner, involving thrusting hip movements and a low squatting stance.
There, thank you, Morgan Freeman. Stuart Varney, we're having fun with it, but you actually, your condemnation of the baby boomer generation and how we reached the Miley Cyrus performance from there was quite seminal, and we used it quite a bit here on the show earlier in the week. Do you want to expand on that a little? Oh, yeah, we got a lot of callers, great response. Do you want to expand on that a little bit as you've watched how this story has developed all week?
Well, look, I thought that the Miley Cyrus performance the other night was pretty shocking. It was sexually explicit. Maybe we should have expected it. I don't know. But there was a certain degree of shock value there. And I'm thinking, well, who do we blame for this? And frankly, I blame my generation. I'm a baby boomer. And I think this kind of explicit raunchiness, this explicit shock value, it actually started in the 1960s.
But aren't you in danger of becoming, the people who are complaining that Elvis Presley was shaking his hips on Ed Sullivan? I mean,
Yeah.
We don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, I'm the old guy down the block who says, "Get off my lawn."
No, that's
stop twerking on my
that's,
lawn.
That's me. I'm sorry. That's my job.
Yeah, stop twerking on my lawn. Was that it?
Exactly.
Well, yeah, I know I'm in danger of doing that, but, it really did start, didn't it, in the post-World War II generation? I mean, it did. If you want to blame anybody,
goes.
we started it, didn't we?
I think you're right.
I hear you. Well, listen, it was great hearing you wax on it, and I appreciate you doing it here on Mornings on the Mall, as always.
I appreciate the topic being resurrected.
And I got to get you, really we just wanted a soundbite of you use the word twerking, so we can drop that in anytime we want.
That's right.
With a British accent, it sounds so classic.
Exactly.
It does.
Well, it is in the Oxford Dictionary.
That's right. Thanks, Stuart.
Thank you, guys.